end of the day. And here's some rods for you. Heading towards the middle of April. We got the valve rod and the equalizer. They're all ready to go. We haven't taken the rods off yet because, well, we moved all the boards in, but we found we're going to be moving the locomotive next week, and we had to get more stuff on the back head. As you can see, we add some paint here, and we've started finishing up mounting the cab floor. Got to drill a few more holes and then drop a few more bolts, and we're done. At least on getting it up there for good. See, the cab has some primer on it. It's not quite finished yet with the getting the paint off on the top, but we need to, after we finished fixing the bottom with the welding, we need to keep it from rusting. So we put some primer on it. So next week we will be doing that. And over here we worked on the speedometer wheel and got that mounted on there. That's all cleaned up, ready for the cable to be run up to the cab. The bolts here are still waiting to be welded in place and then have the cap put on the outside. Gotta wait till the Boilermakers get back here pretty soon. They're still being kept by the lake boats. They still gotta do the tops too. Kevin's been slowly chipping away at those, putting caps on them. And of course we gotta weld the inside. So not much has changed in there. In the front end here, nothing really changed. Looking back, yeah, you can see how it turned out a little bit better. All these boards will be placed under the rods here, like you saw on the fireman's side back in November when we got them off on that side. So, moving along. But all the machines here are back up in shape. Only a few more stables to drill out. We're back to the smaller ones for the moment, but we still got a few more long ones to do. These ones take a couple hours to get done a piece, so we're going to be sitting there for a while, sitting at the lathe, and it's terribly long work. Anyway, heading back to the front here. As you can see, we got some handles to go on here. We got to paint some more. We'll be working our way towards the end of this thing. Besides the rods there, working on brake shoes, getting those cleaned off. Gotta put the rubber pieces on them eventually, but for right now we gotta mount the metal parts and then make sure they're still good. Get them all painted. Got some brackets here. This is the hopper bin for reaching inside on the stoker. It goes on the floor in the cab. These are the cab sides. The access doors on the front end here that you see. These little holes, those will go in there. Up here we've got a big weld. Back in 2006 they just took off the front wall here, so they didn't have to take the cab off when they worked on the boiler to get it, so I could get a few more years off it without any major work. And we got this part ground down about here through halfway, but this back here gets a lot thicker, so it's still gonna be a time getting that off. But all this other stuff that we welded on here has been ground down. That's where it's been primered. Hopefully get it moved out and get the rest of the top done next week, so we can get mounted onto the cab floor. Now, here's the brake stand. Remember, this was in the combine last month. I showed you it. We got most of the paint off. It's brass. I was going to take it apart, but he said there's no gasket for it, so put it back on. So it's airtight still. So it's getting pretty cleaned up. We got to remove the top part for the train brake. And once he gets the gasket for the locomotive brake and these two, then it needs to be sent to Pabco for inspection. And here's the inspirator. for introducing water to the boiler. And as you can see, it's all brass too. This will probably go on first before the brake stand, but we gotta have them mounted up there. Hopefully next week we get the cab on there. Anyway, you can see, I'm gonna go up here. Cab floor, the bottom is getting bolted in. All these on the sides are done. The floor has been primered here and on top too. Out the door for the access, which is where the bin's go in, and it's gonna sit in there. And then all this stuff is all primered and ready. Just a few more parts to go on. See the mounting for the brake stand there, and the bracket in the back behind it. So, all this is ready to go. Still a few more stuff to go on the fireman's side. There's got to be a cover that covers the stoker. As you can see, the pedal's also in there for the firebox door controls. The doors are over here. Primered a long time ago, waiting to go on. We've done it today, but ran out of time. Yeah. So, see all up in here, it's all cleaned out, and the stoker motor will go in there. Got some pipes in here that go in, and all that's the same. And here's the motor, pretty much about ready. A few more pieces to check out. So we got, they put in the gasket here, new gasket. Get it tightened up. Hopefully it works correctly. This part will be what you see on the outside, and it goes up under there. And that's what you'll see. We'll be driving the stoker. Of course, there are covers that go on here, the cover plates. And oh man, let's see, are they staying around here? They were. Miscellaneous parts. See those go on soon too. Here's Hank the Tank, number 75. Gotta be doing trips next month. Come on out. So, April 8th, update 1. I plan on being here next week. We're gonna be moving the engine out and taking it to the GLC shop next door. Hopefully get you footage of that happening. We'll see what happens. Hopefully all goes well. What we're doing is we're putting it over their pit. We're doing an inspection of the running gear, so it's all ready to go on the road once we get the boiler all done. Gotta have it able to move. Remember, all these rods on this side are done. That's what the other side's gonna look like here, hopefully in a couple of weeks. So sorry for the delay on that, but priorities are priorities. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We're working at, and you don't see it, but we're working on the covers for the sandbox. They're all black already. I don't know if we're gonna paint the sandbox before we get it steamed up. Hopefully we do. We gotta paint the rest of the boiler. Get those boiler makers back here to get all this done. So we'll see what happens next week then. Yeah, we're about ready to go home here. Okay, steam crew here in Wasso SRI. 12/25 update for April. See you next week, hopefully.